Good Saturday morning, everybody. Chris Allen here on this June 7th. It's time for your 270 weather update. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. All right. It's quiet outside right now. Things are going to remain, I think, mainly quiet for this morning. I don't think we're going to see any kind of rainy, stormy weather until we get into, excuse me, this afternoon. Whew. Anyway, yeah, it's quiet right now. Let me show you. Here's a look at the Plano cam from Plano, Kentucky, right outside of Bowling Green city limits. And you can see the clouds. Looks like there may be some sun that wants to break through. But right now it is pretty quiet and cloudy. Much of the day is going to be like this. As far as the way the sky looks, I think it's going to stay relatively cloudy or mainly cloudy. There may be times when the sun does break through, but later, I think it's going to be in the afternoon, probably after, say, 3, 4 o'clock or around that time. We'll begin to see the rain moving back in or developing. There's still plenty of moisture. All you got to do is step outside and you can feel it. The air is thick. It is soupy. It's damp. Damp. Yeah, it is this morning. So it's just waiting. We still have this boundary setting here. That's going to be the trigger for more thunderstorms. But it looks like, as far as any serious weather, any severe weather, that's going to stay further south of us, south of the 270. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods completely, but like yesterday, we saw a few severe thunderstorm warnings, even though there was a tornado watch, no tornadoes anywhere. It was more of a precautionary thing just based on the way the atmosphere was behaving at the time. But I think today, there is a very, very small possibility of that happening. And it's going to be more about heavy rainfall once again, gully washers like we had yesterday. Let's look at the numbers from yesterday. 85, exactly on the normal. That's where we should be here at the beginning of June for a high temperature. And 71 was our low at the airport. They recorded 38 hundredths of an inch of rain, but some of you got a lot more than that. Some of the rainfall was pretty heavy. Yesterday, at noontime, I was doing a live shot from Russellville on the 400-mile yard sale. And I mean, all intent was to do this outside with all the setup and everything, people displaying their booths. And I mean, we could see it coming. Thunder, lightning, here it comes, dark sky. We got in quickly just before it started raining hard. And it was a hard, hard rain. Okay, here's a look at radar here at 6:33 a.m. And the only rain we're seeing is way over here in parts of the Cumberland Plateau. You can see that Albany, well, just east of Albany and Monticello, down toward the Tennessee border, and into eastern middle Tennessee. That's where the rains are. Back to the west, there's nothing going on. And really, for those of you, by the way, that are going out to the yard sale, which I'm going to, my wife and I are going to go this morning. I don't know which direction we're going, but if you're heading out to 68, US 68, which runs there from Paducah through Hopkinsville, Cadiz, Elkton, Russellville, Bowling Green, Glasgow, Edmonton, then up to Greensburg, Campbellsville, Harrodsburg, Nicholasville, all up to Maysville. This morning, you're good. And if you've got a booth or a display set up or a tent or awning or whatever you got set up there, keep the tarps handy for this afternoon. You're going to probably need them this afternoon, but this morning, You're good to go. I think you're good to go for the first, really half of the day, or maybe even more. It's just not going to be a problem right now. So let's take a look at the mesonet temperatures this morning, starting out in the muggy upper 60s to low 70s. Moisture content, we look at the dew point, see how close the dew point temperature is to the air temperature, and it's going to be close. I know it is. Well, it's exactly pretty much exact. So that means we have 100% relative humidity. That means the atmosphere is fully saturated. It can hold no more water. So it's just sitting there waiting to fall. So as we go through the day, if we get a trigger, such as a little daytime heating, all it would take is a little bit of sunshine for a while, and then here come the storms. Or it could be the front itself, which is kind of laying across the area. That could be the trigger as well. So we've got a couple of triggers today that could help touch off the rain. Let's look at the past 24 hours. Rainfall amounts generally have been about a half inch. I told you 3,800 hundredths at the Bowling Green Airport, but a couple of the sensors here, one at the Corvette plant, one down at the Ag Expo Center, both averaging about a half inch. Same goes for Barron County and Butler County. But then you go up to Grayson County, and they have picked up in Litchfield 2.36 inches of rain. Ohio County and Hartford, a little bit over 2 inches. 1.85 in Russellville, and that's where I was yesterday when I think that 1.85 came down all at once, or at least it looked like it with that gully washer. And then look at this, though, down in Franklin, Simpson County, 2.31 inches of rain. And then we had a few places out toward the Green River Lake area, Lake Cumberland, picked up anywhere from a half inch to almost 2 inches of rain. That's Columbia and Adair County. And then there were a few spots way out in western Kentucky, picked up inch and a half plus of rainfall. So it just hit in spots yesterday, and that's the way it's going to do, it looks like, again today. Where the heaviest rain will set up is anybody's guess. But I would say if you're anywhere next to the frontal boundary, you're more susceptible to getting the heavy rain. Winds are coming out of the west, light this morning, and will continue to be that way, and maybe even go a little variable once that front begins to wobble just a little bit more. Let's go to the threat of severe weather today. And the good news is the better severe weather risk is going to be further south. They've even pushed Bowling Green out and much of the 270 out of that level 2 slight risk. It's now further south. There's a little bit of it still there, but not as much. It's more over the 606 area code. We're more into the level 1. And again, I don't think it's just going to be much of anything. I mean, there will be some strong storms, and I do anticipate some severe thunderstorm warnings, but anything beyond that, I don't think that's going to happen. It would be more severe thunderstorm warning going to, say, a flood advisory or a flash flood warning. I think that's more typical of what we're going to see with this kind of setup. The dangerous weather is going to be further south of Nashville, across southern middle Tennessee down to Memphis, parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. That's where there's a level 3 enhanced risk. That's where, if any tornadoes are going to happen today, that's where it's going to be. And here's the tornado risk. Yeah, as you can see there, it's further south, not in our area. But a damaging wind threat, maybe, maybe. If a storm really gets going, then it's possible. With any kind of thunderstorm, that's got enough energy. It can throw down some trees, some power, things like that. Uh, Not a huge risk. The bigger risk is going to be again further south. And usually, when we have a severe weather setup where the greater threat is south of Kentucky, it tends to rob our area of all the energy, or at least a majority of it. And usually in these kind of setups, we don't need to really be too concerned about severe weather. It can still happen, but the majority of it, the most dangerous weather is going to be further south of, say, I-40. Severe hail, large hail, nothing here. Maybe some little pea-sized stuff could pop up. Here's tomorrow, and this is a change. We have been taken out of the level 1 marginal risk for Sunday, and now we've been put back into the general risk of thunderstorms, the garden variety stuff. We're kind of sandwiched in between two places that will see it, to the east and to the west. But here, there's just not much of a risk tomorrow. That's good news. But then Monday, this is another surge of energy. So we've been put Monday back into a level 1 marginal risk, but you see again, the greater risk for severe weather is going to be from Nashville and I-40 south. That again is for Monday. That's the latest as of this morning. All right, let's go to the weather. Oh, before I do the maps, let's go to the rainfall projections. And here again, even though it's backed off a little, you got to understand this is a 1 to 7 day forecast. So later in the week, there's not going to be much rain. There's going to be a little, not much. Most of this rain that you see here is coming today and part of tomorrow and Monday. And so they keep at least southern Kentucky in the 2-inch, additional 2-inch placement on the scale over here. So with any storm, and we saw this happen yesterday, any storm that forms a quick inch, inch and a half, 2 inches, that's going to happen again today. So even those of you that picked up around 2 inches of rain yesterday, you could add another 2 inches onto it today. You have that potential. It is there. So be aware, especially if you live in a place that's easily flooded with a strong storm, it could happen again today. And yes, those of you that are along the 400-mile yard sale and you've got all your stuff set up in your yard ready to sell, I would also have nearby a tarp or a couple of tarps. If you don't, I would run out to the hardware store or someplace and get some. They're cheap. Just get some, cover up your stuff. You're going to need it. So, because it's going to be that way. All right, now let's go to the weather charts, what we call the synoptic. This is the layout of all the fronts, the high, the low pressure, all of that stuff. So we're seeing the showers out to the east. You saw that on the radar this morning. Here's the frontal boundary, and it's now quieting down the weather. That's why it's quiet here. All of this yellow goldish area, that's fog. And there may be some dense fog out there somewhere this morning. I'm not seeing it here, but there may be some places, like especially where it rained yesterday or near a lake, stream, a river. That's where your fog is going to be set up this morning. But look, high pressure, temporarily, high pressure is in control. So let's go to later this morning. The front continues to move east, but we're not really done because this front is, it's kind of not really out of the way. Okay. In fact, it's going to retreat back to the north as a warm front today and then begin to stall once again it's going to stall because it's waiting on the next piece of energy that's going to come in this evening, this afternoon, this evening, and tomorrow. So here comes another wave of showers and thunderstorms later this afternoon, and the coverage looks good for this evening. This is this evening about 7 o'clock. Pretty good rainfall here, heavy rain and thunderstorms. As I mentioned, there could be, yes, another threat for a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, which could turn into uh, flood category. In other words, a flood advisory, an aerial flood warning or watch, or flash flood warning, the flood products that come out. Just expect that. Somebody's going to get some street flooding. Somebody's going to get their ditches, flooded, their yards flooded with some of the heavy. You add 2 inches of rain on top of the already well soaked ground, and the water has nowhere to go. You're gonna get a new pond in your backyard. That's possible today. Here we go on into this evening, into tonight, and here comes the front once again. Yep, same front, but it just comes north today as a warm front, stalls out, waits on the next piece of energy, then comes back through as we get into the day Sunday. That's going to shut off the rain temporarily here Sunday morning. We get into Sunday afternoon and evening, and we can see already the next system coming into view out of Missouri, out of Illinois, and here it comes. For Monday, another good surge of energy, another good surge of moisture, and we get rain and thunderstorms. It doesn't look like it's going to be quite as heavy as what we've seen yesterday or will see today. This is going to be a fast mover. This is not going to be a front that stalls. So it's going to be in and out pretty quickly. So rainfall amounts won't be as much as what we've seen over the last 2 days. And there it goes. This is Tuesday morning. We begin to dry out. Wednesday looks dry, a little patchy fog for the morning hours. Here we go into Thursday. There may be a little surge of Gulf moisture trying to work northward. And then the rainfall amounts will begin to pick up as we get into the end of next week. And look at that. Here we go again. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Just and like the commercial, my new favorite commercial right now, it's going to be damp. Watch your language. Damp. It is going to be. We just can't catch a break. Here's a look at the blender, model blender. Temperatures will be running about where they should this time of the year, which is low to mid 80s. But then I see a big surge, and the models are blending together and averaging out some upper 80s to near 90 for the end of next week. We still have not hit 90 yet this year. Yet. You know what's coming. It could be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week, or maybe even next Saturday, a week from today. Then the average high temperature comes down into the mid 80s, but upper 80s, close to 90, very possible by next weekend. All right. Here's that 7-day forecast. 90% chance of rain today. Actually, the updated grid forecast has put that to 70%, but it's still going to look likely. And you could pick up a quick half inch to an inch or more. And like I said, some places like yesterday with any stronger thunderstorms could pick up an additional 2 inches of rain on top of what you've already received. Rain chances go down a little bit on Sunday, but come back Monday with that next surge of moisture. Then we get a break for Tuesday, Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday next week, back into the rain. and highs in the mid 80s. Let's see here. Carolyn, good morning, Chris from Litchfield. During the day yesterday, my rain gauge measured 4.2 inches. Wow. A gully washer in Litchfield. You know what? That's almost a frog strangler. Almost. What's the threshold for a frog strangler? You can ask a frog if it hasn't already croaked. Oh, I know I'm full of it. Bonnie Mitchell, North Butler County, Dexterville. I know where that is. We got 1 inch and 7/10 yesterday. I believe it. See, verification. You don't need to trust just the stuff you see here. You can trust people that have their own rain gauges and thermometers and they keep up with this stuff. And a lot of them have to because they run farms or they run businesses that depend on how much rain, how much moisture is out there. So yeah, you guys, a couple of you took a good hit of that stuff yesterday, and it's possible again today. But I think we're going to be quiet this morning through about the middle part of the day, maybe even mid afternoon before things start boiling again. And then we'll start to see on your, hopefully, your News 40 real time radar that's on the News 40 app, which you can download right there by scanning that QR code right there. Then you can download it and keep that radar with you. It's also going to tell you, it's going to send a notification, a ping on your phone that says lightning is within 15 miles of your location, or there is a strong storm headed your direction, or there's a severe thunderstorm warning, or a tornado watch, or, like yesterday, or it could be for flooding. I think that we're going to see a lot of flood advisories and warnings going up today because of the heavy rain. Okay, you guys have a great weekend. I may see you, if you see me out on the 400-mile yard sale. Me and my wife will be out just bargain hunting. Doesn't mean we need to buy anything. And sometimes we go and just look. We don't even buy anything. And then we talk to people. I like just going out and just talking to people and just getting to know our neighbors. I don't know if we're going east or west. We haven't we haven't decided yet, have we? No, we're gonna get some breakfast and then decide whichever way my truck turns is the way we're gonna go. But anyway, you guys have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll see you right back here with your 270 weather.